can you share with us a little bit about your life thus far in the Boston Symphony and kind of like what a typical week
Hmm.
looks like for you?
Well, a typical week, not unlike any other American orchestra, is four rehearsals typically and three concerts. And
Mm,
for us, that's one rehearsal on Tuesday, two rehearsals, which we call a double, on Wednesday, and then a dress rehearsal on Thursday, and then first concert Thursday night, a
mm,
Friday afternoon concert, and then Saturday night concert again. If it's a
mm,
particularly demanding program, we might add an extra rehearsal. Or if it's a particularly famous guest artist, then we might add a concert.
sure.
So those things can vary a little bit. For the BSO, Monday is always our day off, although I have seen it where we do have a rehearsal on Monday. I think that was during Thanksgiving weekend, which is understandable because we did take the day of Thanksgiving off
Sure.
during that week. But Monday is always the day off. In terms of my life in the Boston Symphony, I really like it so far. I love the hall itself. It's absolutely amazing. It's so historic, and it's definitely like it's all the rage, and like it's as great as they say it is. And what we what you like to we kind of admire the fact that even after going to all these halls in Europe or wherever when we're on tour, and we come back to our own hall and realize just how great it is. Because
Mm,
some halls around the world aren't that great, and even the great ones, and then we come back to here and
mhm.
and it just sounds amazing.
Right.
The people are great. Everyone's really welcoming. Our section is really chill, and we have a pretty chill vibe. There's some jokesters in the section, so it makes rehearsal pretty fun.
Mhm.
But it's welcoming altogether, and they seem to like me so far.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And getting a little bit more into the nitty gritty, for yourself individually, how do you manage the practicing? Like, is it just week by week, or if is it like you try to look ahead if you know there's a more challenging program in a few weeks, like you already start looking at that ahead of time? Like, talk us through that a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, I see the program. I basically know what we have in the season, and some programs will stick out to you like, oh yeah, that's gonna be hard. And so
Right.
you know how like that you have to look at it. And pretty much all the music, most of it, unless it's like ridiculously hard, I'd look at it a week before and I can just kind of gauge how much practice it'll take.
Hmm.
I do most of my practice on it within a couple days before. But
Mm.
if it's something really like if it's a concerto and it's just accompaniment the whole time and you have a
Mm.
note every 10 bars or something, then
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
like you just have to look at it, make sure you have the right clefs, keys, and just to double check that because you don't want to like get it wrong. But
Right.
if it's something that's moving or even Strauss, that I would actually listen to the and while looking at the music because Strauss is so not direct in what it
Mm.
is on the page versus how it's actually played. And
Right.
even Mahler is it's so not black and white like it looks on the
Yeah.
page. So a few days beforehand, I'll be looking at the music, listening to it, and of course, there's always going to be those spots that are tricky, and so you just practice those. And it's better not to practice it the day or two before, but but rather space it out over a few more days because repetition of repetition and time between gets something more in your system than just practicing it super well for one day before the rehearsal.
Mm. Mm.
And it
Yeah.
makes you less likely to panic during the rehearsal or just like not yeah having done something several days in a row
Mm.
is much better and much more solidified than trying to do it all at once.
Sure. Sure. And talking a little bit more about your practice routine, uh, do you also work on solo stuff still? Like, do you work on Bach, etudes, anything? I'm sure you have chamber
But oh
concerts
yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
I do work on solo stuff. I had a recital a couple months ago. I used it as an opportunity to learn rep that I had never learned before. And
Mhm.
so it's great because at this point in my life, I still feel like I have a lot more development to do. And it real musical development wise, it is pretty early to have a job at 22 and just be doing orchestra music. It it's I think better to keep adding to your system, adding to your to enrich your musical experience. And yeah, it also just helps you in the future if you want to teach, you get to know more repertoire. And if you
Right.
have any other goals, it also helps you keep in shape.
Sure. Well, I'm curious, do you also play for people in the Boston area or?
You know, I sometimes I play for my friends when I was preparing for my recital. I played
Mhm.
for some of my Juilliard friends again.
Mhm.
Uh, in terms of teachers, I haven't. I've gone back a couple times to my teachers back at Juilliard for a
Mhm.
lesson
Sure.
this school year.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, and I mean, you kind of mentioned it before. Have you already gone on tour with Boston this year?
Oh yeah. So I started at the end of Tanglewood. The last 2 weeks, those are considered the tour prep weeks where we
Oh,
do
okay.
all the repertoire that we take on tour. So that was the beginning and
Mm.
mid-August, 2 weeks, then a couple days off, and then we went on tour for 2.5 weeks for the end of August and early September.
Mm. And where did you guys go?
We went to Europe, so the usual places like London,
Mm.
German. We went to Paris, not German, Berlin. We went to 4 cities in Germany, actually.
Oh,
So
okay.
Berlin, Hamburg, Dortmund, and Köln.
Mm.
Went to Slovenia, uh, went to Switzerland, Lucerne.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
How
was a
Hamburg?
really fun trip, but it was like pretty much a concert every day and a half.
Right.
Some cities we did 2 concerts in, and
Yeah.
some just one, but it was a lot of traveling.
Yeah. And Hamburg, that's the city with the new hall, right? The Phil,
Yeah, that has
yeah.
the Elbphilharmonie,
Yeah,
the
that's
very expensive hall. It's pretty nice. Yeah.
yeah. Is it acoustically as nice as it looks?
Oh no, it is very nice. And
Yeah. Okay.
it's not as big as I would have thought it was like in the videos because
Mm.
it's all surrounded. I think there are even seats behind the stage or on the side. I
Mm.
think, yeah. So it's like the back of the audience is still like closer to you than what it would be, say, at Symphony Hall, where it's a box and everyone is
Right.
just in front of the stage. So it goes all
Right.
the way back there.
That's cool. Yeah.